Hello, right. Welcome to Game 2 of the Demolition League 2015 semifinals. Game 1 was won by the Mets, so they are up 1-0 in this best-of-5 series against the Seattle Mariners. So you could pretty much say it's a must game for the Mariners. Don't want to go down 2-0 the same way Cleveland finds themselves against Houston. Game 2 starters will be Matt Harvey. He won the Cy Young Award in the Demolition League with a 7-0 record, ERA just over 1.2. So he had a dominant 2015 Demolition League season. He will be on the mound for the Mets, and a guy that would later become a Met, Taijuan Walker, is on the mound for Seattle, a couple of right-handers. See the lineups, the benches, and the bullpens for both teams. Normally, I limit the left-handers to 2 in each bullpen, but Seattle, because of trades, ran out of pitchers, so they had to use Reynos Elias as a third left-hander because Fernando Rodney got traded to the Cubs, and one of their other pitchers got traded to, I believe, was Toronto. So for the carded players I had, didn't have enough righties to go around. So that's the reason why there are 3 lefties there. Not trying to give Seattle an advantage, that's just the way it worked out. All right, we got the New York Met dice, blue, white, and orange. And Matt Harvey will be ready for his warm-up tosses. And leading things off will be Austin Action Jackson. And before we get going, I'm going to pause the video and get one little minor thing straight. Okay, I think we're ready to go now. Austin Jackson stepping to the plate against Matt Harvey. Again, Mets lead 1-0. In Game 3 between Houston and Cleveland from Houston will be the next video. Hopefully I'll post that on Tuesday. And that's a 2-0 lead for Houston. Cleveland trying to stave off elimination. Programming notes coming forward. The 1975 NBC Game of the Week will be on April the 15th, will be the first game on that Saturday the 15th. And it will be the St. Louis Cardinals and Bob Gibson against Steve Carlton and the Phillies. Of course, Gibson, his final year in 75, not very good, but brand name recognition there for Bob Gibson. And before that, hopefully on the 13th, on that Thursday, the 13th, will be the first game in the Payoff Pitch 2022 New York Yankees replay. Be using Payoff Pitch to test that game engine all the way through with the Yankees. Going to keep the Yankee stats via digital diamond baseball, and then I'm going to be using Fast Score to simulate the other games because I don't have 2022 on replay or Strat-O-Matic, so I don't have any way to keep stats other than I could let Digital Diamond do it, but I think I've never used Fast Score before. RJL has used it extensively, obviously, but this will be my first crack at it, so thought that might add something to the Yankee videos as well. All right, so here we go. Matt Harvey against Austin Jackson. Game 2 underway, 2-4. 2-4, 1-8 's a home run. That's a 10, so it's a leadoff double for Austin Jackson. So right off the bat, Austin Action Jackson has got the action going with a double. And Matt Harvey a little chagrined about that. So he was coming off that Cy Young Award winning season in the Demolition League, and Jackson will be held. He's a 15 runner, so they will hold him on second base. Seth Smith 1-4. Ground ball shortstop with a plus. Since he was held on, that means he gets through for a base hit, so that is an RBI single for Seth Smith. That's the danger you have in the advanced game when you hold a runner on. Anything that's a plus gets through, and this one did. But you had to hold him on. He's a 15 base runner. You couldn't give him free rein to score on any base hit, and unfortunately it just worked out that was the base hit. Would have been a ground out otherwise, but you got to play the odds. Here's Robbie Cano. Seth Smith not being held on. He's an E stealer, so obviously not being held on. Here's Cano. He led the league, the Demolition League, in batting. He was the batting champion and the MVP because he had a torrid last 7 to 10 games of the season and really got Seattle in the playoffs. Almost on his own. 3-8, and that is a single 2 stars. And Matt Harvey running into some serious issues here in the first inning. Runners on the corners. and still nobody out. And you're trying to avoid a huge inning. So I think they're going to play the infield back. They really don't want another plus sign to get through for a hit. And they really do. I think they'd be happy to trade 2 outs for a run and hold Seattle just to 2 runs in the inning if they can. So they will be doing that. Cano, D-Steele are not going to be, nobody's being held on, so no worries there. But Harvey needs an out in the worst way. 2-9, everything's come off the batter card. 2-9 is a strikeout, so Harvey got what he needed there for sure. And now he is a double play away from getting out of the inning. And the batter will be Kyle Seager, third baseman. Harvey, 6-12, and that is the injury check. It was 6-12. Well, I forgot to mention, 6-12 was the injury check for both pitchers. We just hit 6-12. Could be bad news for Mr. Harvey. So, let's get the injury chart out and see if he can stay in the game or not. So for pitchers, he needs a 1 through 6 on the D20 to stay in the game. Anything else, he's got to be removed. And if it gets too high up here, he'll be removed for the rest of the playoffs. It's an 8, so he's going to miss 2 games, which means he will be eligible in the finals if the Mets make it, but he is going to have to leave the game right now. We'll finish the at-bat, 6-12, against a lefty who's a ground ball pitcher, X. Infield was back for the double play. He is a 3, so we do need to finish the actual result of the at-bat. 3-18 on a pitcher. Let's see what happens here. 3-18 is a ground ball C, so the run's going to score. Everybody's going to advance. It is now 2-0 in favor of Seattle, as the only play that Harvey had with his injury was to throw it to first and at least get 1 out. Cano does go to second. Scoring on the play is Seth Smith. It's 2-0 Seattle with a runner at second, and Harvey will have to leave the game. So the Mets will have to bring in a new pitcher, and that pitcher will get as much time as they need to warm up. They don't have any extra starters on the roster because they just go with the 4-man rotation to get the extra bullpen guys. So this is going to be a bullpen day, and we got to see who's got the highest amount of relief fatigue, I guess you want to call it. Sean Gilmartin's up there with a 2, so is Carlos Torres. Morrison's coming up, so they're going to bring in Gilmartin, the lefty, because Seattle has a lot of lefties in their pen. So Sean Gilmartin, he did make 1 start on the season, but mainly was relief pitcher, 3-2 in 57 innings. He does have a 2 for his fatigue, so Sean Gilmartin coming in here in the first inning thanks to the injury, and that's why it's called the Demolition League, folks. The injury to Matt Harvey. So now, Gilmartin just trying to get out of the inning, keep it a 2-0 game. Runner at second is Cano, and as a 13 runner, he will not be held. Lefty on lefty, 110, and that's a pop-up to second to end the inning. But 2 runs come in for Seattle as they take a 2-0 lead, and to add injury to the insult, Matt Harvey is gone for the game. So coming out to enjoy a 2-run lead is Taijuan Walker. And he'll be facing Granderson, Murphy, and Conforto, 3 lefties in a row. Mets down 2-0 here in the bottom of the first. They got their work cut out for them against Mr. Walker. 4-2 against the lefties. A ground ball to second. Put away by Cano. 1 away. 1 down. That brings up the second baseman, Daniel Murphy. Mets winners in game 1 by a close 2-1 score. They got 2 late homers in the 8th inning to eke out a win. So now they're in trouble here. They've been no stranger to being behind in the series for sure. Here's Murphy, 1-9, and he's going to ground it to short. Miller is there, so 2 easy ground balls for Taijuan Walker as he is trying to make sure that 2-0 lead stays 2-0. It'll bring up Conforto, the left fielder. When the series shifts to Seattle, then the DH will be back in place. so the Mets can put an extra bat in the lineup. Right now it's 5-6 for a lefty against Walker, and that is a strikeout to end the inning. So Taijuan Walker, 1-2-3, easy time of it. And we go to the top of the second, 2-0 in favor of the Seattle Mariners. Sean Gilmartin is back out. We'll be facing the bottom of the order, Miller, Zunino, and Taijuan Walker, who uses pitcher rating card number 1. Right now it is lefty on lefty with Brad Miller. 1-6, and that's a single to center field for Brad Miller. So Miller doesn't care about the lefty. He gets a single. And that will bring up the catcher, Zunino. Zunino, a decent bunter, but you got the pitcher on deck. So if it was an American League and you had the DH, then they might bunt here, but I think with the pitcher batting next, they're going to go and let Zunino swing away. Miller is a B stealer, so they will have to hold him on. Got to watch those plus results. 2-11 for Zunino against a lefty, and that's a single to right field. Single to right field, and the runner Miller was being held on, which would make him a 13 instead of a 14. Single to right, though, you add 2, makes him a 16. Right fielder Granderson's a +2 arm is an 18. So 1-18, and he's in there. So put runners on the corners. I'm not doing this cutting the throw and the runner advancing. That's super advanced stuff, so I'm not going to mess with that. Try to keep it simple. Zunino singles. Because if that was the case, I wouldn't have thrown through because the odds were not in the favor to do that. So runners on the corners with nobody out. And that's going to bring up the pitcher, Taijuan Walker, who is hitting off pitcher rating card number 1. Walker is a B bunter according to his pitching card. He is a B bunter. So the infield is in at the corners, expecting the bunt. He becomes a C bunter. And they're going to do a sacrifice where they're going to try to get the runner here. The runner on third will hold no matter what. The only thing we're trying to do is get him to second base. So that's what we're going to use the advanced bunt chart for. We need to get the advanced bunt chart and get that ready to go. He is a C bunter because the corners are in, so it's a 7, C7. Batter on first. Batter is thrown out by first baseman. Other runners advance. So it's going to be a. But again, I'm not. I said I was holding that runner there because we're not. The Mets would not allow that. So you're not going to take a chance. So all they were trying to do was get that runner to second base. So it's going to go 3-4 on the sacrifice, with Zunino going to second. And it's a productive out from Taijuan Walker, and back to the top of the order for Austin Jackson. So now the infield is in with runners at second and third and 1 out. Jackson led off the game with a double and scored his first time up off of Harvey. Gilmartin trying to get out of the mess. To 3-7, and Jackson a single, 2 stars, and that's going to clear the bases. A 2-run single makes it 4-0 Seattle. And Gilmartin not having any luck. Austin Jackson now 2 for 2. And that sacrifice bunt worked out exactly the way Seattle wanted to by getting those runners in scoring position. They do score. Austin Jackson's at first. He will have to be held as he is a B stealer. Gilmartin to Smith. 5-8. That's a ground ball, second base A. That's a double play to end the inning. That's what they wanted last time, but was a ground ball to keep with the infield in to keep them close, but didn't happen. But they get a 4-6-3 double play to close out the inning. But 2 more runs by Seattle. We got a 4-0 lead. Might be all for Gilmartin. We'll see if his turn comes up in the order to bat. It definitely will be, but we have to wait and see if we get that far first. Taijuan Walker now enjoying a 4-run cushion. We'll be facing Cespedes, Duda, and Flores. 3-5 against the right-hander for Cespedes, and he's going to ground to second. Cano is right there. 1 away for Lucas Duda. .111 for Duda, and that's a single. First base runner for the Mets. Lucas Duda with a 1-out single. He's an E-stealer. He will not be held, and definitely no threat to try to go anywhere. And Wilmer Flores, the shortstop, is up. 410 against a right-hander is just simply a fly to left. Super advanced, we're looking for a home run check, but not an advanced. 2 down. And that's going to bring up Travis d'Arnaud. $112 for d'Arnaud. Again, a ballpark effect single if we're playing super advanced, but in advanced it's simply a pop out to short. Miller is there, and the inning is over. So a single goes for naught. 2 innings are in the books. And it's 4-0 in favor of Seattle. Now Gil Martin will come back out. He is set to bat second next inning. And let's see, he's going to be facing Cano, Cruz, and Seager. 2 out of 3 are left-handed. And let's see, since he's come on, he's given up 3 hits. But this is his second inning of work starting here, so fatigue will start with this inning to see what he gives up. 4-6 against a lefty, and that's a leadoff walk. That's not a good sign. Gil Martin might be hitting fatigue very shortly if he keeps this up. Cano will draw the leadoff walk. He will not be held. He's a D stealer, so he's not going to go anywhere. It does bring up Mr. Cruz, the right fielder. 3-6 against the lefty, and that's a single 2 stars. There's a clutch there, but that's for super advanced and when there are 2 outs and runners in scoring position. In this case, it's simply a single 2 stars, so runners are on the corners, and they may not be able to go with Gil Martin too much longer. I think Seager's going to be the last batter he's going to face, possibly. Although there are lefties coming up, but he's going to be walking the tightrope of being tired. 4-0. They got to play the infield in with nobody out. I just don't see them trading 2 outs for another run to come across. They're going to have to play the infield in. 1-7, and that's a 1-11 single, but that's a 17, so it's a line out to second. Snagged by Murphy for out number 1. Everybody gets back safely, but important thing for the Mets is nobody advanced. 1 down for Logan Morrison. Now a double play does get you out of the inning if you can turn it. But I think you can't. Morrison doesn't have a lot of ground ball A chances on his card, so they're going to play the infield in. They're going to keep the infield in. 5-6 against the lefty. Struck him out. Huge strikeout there for Mr. Gil Martin for out number 2. And that sends us to another lefty-on-lefty matchup with Brad Miller. Infield is back to normal with 2 outs. That's a 2-5, and that's a ground ball to first. And stepping on the bag is Duda to end the inning. And Gil Martin pitches out of the mess. That's it for Gil Martin. He's going to be done. He's going to go 2 1/3 innings, giving up 2 runs. And Seattle now leads at 4-0 to go to the bottom of the 3rd. And now the Mets will be looking for a pinch hitter after Uribe hits. They'll be looking for a pinch hitter, so we need to go to the bench and see who they have that might be available. The only lefty on the bench is Kelly Johnson, so I believe he's going to be the one to pinch hit. So it'll be Uribe and then Kelly Johnson. I don't think Johnson was expecting to come in the 3rd inning, but that's where they find themselves, down 4-0. And then we'll figure out who the next pitcher is for the Mets after this. Right now it is Uribe. It's a 4-11 against a right-hander, and that's a fly ball left field X. That is Seth Smith. He's not very good. He's a 4. 4-15. He might get away with it. 4-15 for an outfielder. A 4-15. Nope, he didn't get away with it. It's a single. So base hit falls in. It's a danger you get when you play those 4-rated outfielders. You run into those kind of problems. And a leadoff single from Uribe. He does not run well. He will not be held. And Kelly Johnson came over from Atlanta Braves in a trade late season. He'll be on to pinch hit for Gil Martin. Walker 3-9, and that's, look at this for Kelly Johnson. 1 to 4 is a double, 5 to 20 is a single. That's a 8. So we got first and third on the pinch hit single for Kelly Johnson. And perhaps back come the Mets. Runners on the corners, nobody out for Granderson. Infield, of course, is back with a 4-0 lead. They'll definitely trade a run to get 2 outs. Walker 3-6, but they might not get any outs here. Look at this, 1 to 13 is a home run. That's a 5. Kaboom! That is gone. Curtis Granderson, a 3-run blast, and just like that, the Mets are back in business. It is 4-3. Curtis Granderson with a 3-run bomb. It is now 4-3. Walker a little bit shook up. Mets back in business. Here's Daniel Murphy. Still nobody out. 4-7 against the lefty. Struck him out. 1 out. So that's the first out of the inning. That will bring up Conforto, followed by Cespedes. Mets now back in business. 2-7, and that's a ground ball to first, and easy play for Logan Morrison. 2 down. It's a plus sign there, but with nobody on base, does not get through. So here's Cespedes with 2 outs and the base is clear. 1-7, and that's a ground ball to short, and that's going to end the inning. But damage done, a 3-run homer off the bat of Curtis Granderson. Makes this now a 4-3 game as we go to the 4th, and now the Mets will need a new pitcher. And it's going to be the other guy with a fatigue of 2, and that is Carlos Torres. So Carlos Torres is on. There is an off day tomorrow for travel, theoretical travel as they go to Seattle. So they can use the whole bullpen because they're all going to get a day off after this. So no sweat there, but they decide to go with Torres. He'll be facing Zunino, Walker, and Jackson. 1-9 strikes out Zunino for out number 1. So he's out of there. That'll bring up Taijuan Walker using pitcher hitting card number 1. But we're off the pitcher card, 5-8, and that's still a strikeout either way you go. So Torres strikes out the first 2 he faces. Back to the order for Jackson, who's doubled and singled. A run scored and 2 runs driven in. He has been a thorn in the Mets side early on. 6-3, fly ball right field X. That is Granderson. He's a 2. 2-17 is a good play, and that's going to end the inning. So a 1-2-3 inning turned in by Carlos Torres, and the Mets needed it big time. Keeps the score at 4-3, and now the Mets can get back out there and see if they can tie the game or perhaps take the lead. It'll be Duda, Flores, and d'Arnaud here in the bottom of the 4th of a 4-3 game. Duda singled, was stranded at first in his only at bat. 3-9, he's going to strike out this time, 1 away. So certainly Taijuan Walker looking to settle things down. Actually pitched pretty well, except for the one mistake to Granderson was pretty much it. Here's Wilmer Flores. 4-3 against a righty, and that's a straight up in home run chance. Wilmer Flores does have normal power. It is gone. Kaboom. We have a tie ball game. Wilmer Flores. There is a diamond here for ballpark home run, but we're not doing that. It's just a straight home run. Since he has normal power, it is gone. Wilmer Flores, and the home run ball comes through again for the Mets, and we are tied at 4 apiece. Even Steven, as they say. That gets Harvey off the hook for a loss. Here's d'Arnaud. Now Walker in trouble, 2-8, and that's another home run chance, and it is gone. Boom, kaboom, back-to-back jacks. Travis d'Arnaud, shades of the 8th inning of Game 1. And it is d'Arnaud getting it done again. In game one, I believe it was Darno and Granderson that hit home runs that made the difference. Double check my scoreboard or score sheet. Yep, it was Darno and Granderson that hit home runs. They do it again here. And the Mets have come all the way back to take a 5-4 lead, and now Seattle's bullpen is loosening rather fervently. Pinch hitter coming up for Torres next, unless if Uribe makes an out and there's 2 out spaces empty, they'll probably keep Torres in there. Walker 3-7, and that's a 1-11 single. It is a single for Uribe. Now, actually, Torres could stay into bunt. So Uribe gets himself a base hit. Now you got to look at the bullpen for Seattle and say, hey, what's going on here? We may need some help. Let's take a look here with 1 out. Runner at first. Torres, let's look at his bunt rating. He's a C, he becomes a D bunter. But I still think you have to go that way. He uses number 3 on the pitcher hitting card, but I still think you have to bunt here. Despite being a D bunter, I think you have to bunt. So they're going to put him out there to bunt. He becomes a D bunter. D bunter and a 3. That could be interesting. D bunter and a 3. Batters thrown by pitcher. Runners advance 1 base. So it worked. So Torres gets the job done on the sacrifice bunt. He gets it done. So he can actually stay in the game now, obviously. And that one was, let's see here, done by the pitcher, so we're going to call it a 1-4 sacrifice with Uribe going to second base with 2 outs. Mets lead 5-4. And here comes Mr. Granderson. Now, if you're Seattle, do you make the move here for a pinch hitter? Because column 3 here for Granderson's pretty robust. Not so much against lefties. So I think Seattle's going to make the move right here. They're going to make the move. Taijuan Walker will exit. He will go 3 2/3 innings, so neither pitcher around very long. So Taijuan Walker is exiting. And Seattle will go to their bullpen for one of their 3 lefties. And let's see who it's going to be here. It is going to be Charlie Furbush. So Furbush is in. His job is to get Curtis Granderson. That's pretty much his only job right now. He's probably just a 1 pitcher, because he doesn't have much for fatigue. So here's Granderson. 210, and that's a strikeout. So he does strike out Curtis Granderson to end the inning. But the Mets do damage with 2 runs, back-to-back jacks. And actually, Furbush might stay in the game because he only faced 1 batter. So I think he probably will stay in the game with these lefties coming up. We go to the 5th, and Torres can stay in because he was not pinch hit for. And he'll be facing Smith, Cano, and Cruz due up here in the 5th of a 5-4 Mets lead. They trailed 4-0, but have scored 5 unanswered over the last 2 innings. And now Seattle is the one who's sweating things out. Torres to Smith, 5-7 against the lefty, struck him out. So Torres continuing his good pitching. He's retired all 4 he has faced. Brings up Robbie Cano. 5-11 against the lefty. That's a single for Robbie Cano. He does not steal very well, so he will not be held on, but he is the tying run at the plate. Or I'm sorry, on base with Nelson Cruz coming up. Double play is in order, though. Cano has reached all 3 times. He's singled twice and walked. Double play is in order, and without the runner being held, the plus signs won't come into play. Torres to Cruz, 3-8, and that's a strikeout. So if you can't get the double play, take the strikeout, and he did. 2 down. And that's going to leave it all up to Kyle Seager. .29, and that's a double to left field for Kyle Seager. The question is, does the runner score? We know he gets to third. Let's check all the peripherals. He was not being held, plus there are 2 outs. So Cano runs at a 13. He was not being held, makes him a 14. There are 2 outs, makes it a 16. Left fielder Arn is Conforto, and he is a 0. So 1-16, and he will score and tie the game. And he does. So it's a RBI double for Seager that has tied the game at 5. And just when you thought Torres was going well, this happens. Now what do you do if with Torres? You do have the lefties still coming up in Morrison and Miller. You could go, you've already used Gilmartin. Your only other lefty that they have is Alex Torres. So if you burn him now, you won't have him later in the game. So I think they're going to stick with Carlos Torres in a 5-5 game with 2 outs, hoping to get that final out. Seager is not being held on second. Morrison, 5-6 against the lefty, struck him out, and Carlos Torres gets out of the jam. But the tying run does come across the plate. We go to the bottom of the 5th, tied at 5. Furbush is going to start the inning. He only faced 1 batter his last time up. And right now he's going to be facing Murphy, Conforto, and Cespedes, a couple of lefties to start off with. Right-hander is in the pen, Danny Farquhar, so he might be coming in to face Cespedes. We'll see. 4-12 for Murphy against Furbush. Left-hander, 4-12 is a ground ball first base X. That's Morrison. Morrison's a 3. 3 and a 15, I believe, is a good play. Let's double check it. 3 and a 15 for a first baseman. Actually goes to his error check. Anything 7 to 15 goes to an error check. So the error rating of Morrison is a 5. He's an E5. E5 and a 3. That's interesting. E3 and a 5, though, is a ground ball A. So Morrison able to make the play. We'll say he has trouble with it. Ends up flipping to Furbush covering. So we'll call it 3-1 for the put out. Not that it matters, but just because. 1 away for Conforto. Another lefty on lefty matchup. 5-4, and that's a ground ball third base X. We're looking at Seager. Seager's a 2. 2 and a 5. 2 and a 5 for a third baseman is a good play. Ground ball C, that's all they needed. And quickly, 2 up, 2 down for Furbush. So they're going to let Furbush try to finish the inning and face Mr. Cespedes. Could be a risk because look at column 2 for Cespedes against lefties. Although his column 2 against righties is no slouch either. So they're going to let him take a chance and see, because Furbush has retired all 3 he has faced. So we get a 2-5, and that's a home run for Cespedes. It would have been a home run against a righty as well, so it didn't matter either way you go. Kaboom! Yoenis Cespedes has just given the Mets back the lead at 6-5. 6-5 ball game. Mets back in the lead, and here's Lucas Duda. Furbush is going to stay in there to face Duda, the lefty. 3-9, struck him out to end the inning, but the Mets reclaim the lead, 6-5 after 5. So after a 2-1 pitching duel in Game 1, we've got a slugfest here in Game 2 at Citi Field. That's it for Furbush. He is gone. Carlos Torres, does he stay in the game? That's the question. He's pitched 2 innings. He's given up 2 hits and a run. Coming up for Seattle is Miller, Zunino, and a pinch hitter for Furbush. So, and it's most likely going to be Marte. Gutierrez is actually a right-hander. I don't know why I have switch hitter here. It's actually right-handed. Marte is a switch hitter. Everybody else is right-handed. Could use Trumbo. Could use Marte. I think they want to save Trumbo for if they face the lefty. So you got lefty, right, and a switch most likely coming up for the Mets. But do you let Torres continue or do you bring in someone else? You know what? I think they're going to say, Mr. Torres, you did well. We're going to see if the rest of the bullpen, especially with the day off for travel, we're going to let the rest of the bullpen take it from here. So Hansel Robles will be coming on for the Mets. Hansel Robles will be on to start the 6th. facing Miller, Zunino, and a pinch hitter. Again, Alex Torres, the only lefty you have left. Rather save him for like the 7th or 8th inning when you get in a tight spot against a lefty. So that's what they're doing. 6-6 against the left-hander struck him out. So Robles gets the first out recorded. And that's going to bring up Mr. Zunino. And then pinch hitter Ketel Marte is already swinging a bat. So Ketel Marte will be coming in to pinch hit. Zunino 5-8 against the righty. Ground ball second base X. That's Murphy. Murphy is a 4. 4, and that is a 6, I believe. Yep, that's a 6. So let's see. Second base 4 and a 6 is a base hit. So poor defense there allows Zunino to reach. And now Ketel Marte is your pinch hitter coming up for the Mariners. He came over, I believe, from Arizona along with Trumbo in a trade. So Ketel Marte is on. Zunino, of course, not being held on first base. Oh, Suidice. Let's re-roll that. 5-9, switch hitter. Ground ball shortstop X. That is Flores. And Flores is a 4 also. So middle infielders are 4, which is not good at all. 4 and a 5. That's probably going to get through for a hit as well. Shortstop, a 4 and a 5 is a single 1 star. So it is going to get through for a base hit. Puts 2 runners on. So shoddy defense. Shoddy defense by the Mets starting to cost them a bit. Flip the order now over to Austin Jackson. Hard to blame Robles. I mean, he's getting the ground balls, but his defense is just not working behind him. Double play gets him out of the order, though, or out of the inning, though. 6-9 for Robles. That's trouble. That is an in-home run, 1-19, but he has weak power, so it will be a single 2 stars. It will tie the game, but at least it's not a 3-run homer. But Jackson does single, scoring Zunino, moving Marte to third as the go-ahead run. And now with the lefties coming up, they might have to go to the left-handers out of the bullpen because Robles is now having issues. Struck out the first batter he faced, but now he's having issues. So they're going to the bullpen for Alex Torres, their other lefty, because the Mariners have Smith and Cano, back-to-back left-handers. So the Mets trying to see what they can do here. Bringing in the other Torres, Alex Torres. That leaves them with Reed, Clippard, and Familia left in the bullpen. Tied up at 6. Runners on the corners and 1 out. Do you play the infield double play depth? I think you have to play double play depth here. 1-7. Oh, it's ground ball first base C. That's going to get the runner in. And so by not playing the infield in, that cost them. Took a gamble. The only play by Duda was at first base. Marte will score. Jackson will take second, and the Mariners reclaim the lead now 7-6. Or 6-5. 7-5, rather. 7-6, my bad. 7-6 to score. I'll get the score straight shortly. Smith is out, but now there are 2 down for Cano. Runner at second base is Jackson. He will have to be held as a 15 runner. Torres now to Cano. 5-10. That's a ground ball shortstop X. Again, up to the defense. Flores is a 4. That is a 6, I believe it is. Let me double check where the 9. Yep, that's a 6 because there's no line under it. So that is a 6. A 4 and a 6 for a shortstop is a single 1 star. So it's a hit, but the runner does not score because it's only a 1 star advancement. But now that brings up Cruz with runners on the corners and 2 outs. Nelson Cruz is up. He's got lefties and righties both, column 1 would get him. So They may just go ahead and stick with Torres here. 6-9, and that's a walk, and that's going to load the bases. So the bases are now loaded for left-hander Kyle Seager. And this is definitely Torres' last batter. If he doesn't get Seager, he's probably done. 2 runs are already in. It's 7-6 Seattle, but they're looking for more with the bases loaded and 2 outs, and Kyle Seager the batter. 4-7, that's a walk. It's going to force in a run. Make it now 3 runs in the inning. It is now 8-6. Now lefty Morrison is coming up, but how long do you stick with Torres as a lefty on lefty, or what do you do here? You're kind of betwixt in between. I think they're going to stick with Torres and hope he can get it done. 4-7, another walk. It's going to force in another run, and that's going to be it for Torres. They can't go any further with him. He is going to have to leave the game. The Mariners now batted around. 4 runs are in, and the guy that led off the inning, Miller, is back out again to hit, but he'll be facing a new pitcher. It will be Tyler Clippard. Tyler Clippard will be on to face Brad Miller. But you just couldn't go any lefty or righty or whatever it is. You can't go any more with Torres the way that was going. So they're going to go with Tyler Clippard. He came over in a trade, I believe, from Oakland, if I'm not mistaken. So Clippard is on. So they've used a lot of the bullpen, but again, it is a day off tomorrow. They've used Robles, then they went to Carlos Torres, Robles, Alex Torres, and now Clippard. And Clippard is the sixth pitcher used by the Mets. 4 runs in the inning for Seattle. They're looking for more as the bases are loaded and 2 outs for Brad Miller against Clippard. 6-5 struck him out, and that's going to end the inning finally. But a 4 spot by Seattle. And they now take a 9-6 lead. Not insurmountable, but certainly a 3-run lead looks pretty good if you're the Mariners. Now, for the Mariners, they will be looking for a new pitcher. And let's see, with the lead now, they may go to somebody else. Let's see who they might want to turn to out of their pen. And actually, they're going to do a double switch. Miller was made the last out, so he's going to come out of the game, and the pitcher spot will go right here. And the new shortstop will be Ketel Marte. He will stay in the game and bat 9th. So Marte stays in the game to bat 9th for Seattle. I'm sorry, bat 8th. Is it 8th? No, he's going to bat 7th, my bad. He bats 7th in the former... No, I'm sorry, he bats 9th. He does bat 9th. The pitcher bats 7th. All right, so he will stay in the game. And the new pitcher for Seattle will be Tom Wilhelmsen, a right-hander. So Wilhelmsen will be coming on, the righty. And he's been staked to a 9-6 lead here in the bottom of the 6th. Due up for the Mets, it will be Flores, d'Arnaud, and Uribe. So Wilmer Flores will start things off. d'Arnaud on deck, homered his last time up, so the Mets feeling pretty good about who they have coming up. 3-11, and that's a fly ball left field. Super advance would do a split, but not in advance. 1 down, and that's going to bring up d'Arnaud, followed by Uribe. 4-8 off of Wilhelmsen is a strikeout, so 2 down. So Wilhelmsen comes in and gets the first 2 outs. That's going to turn it over to Uribe with 2 down and the base is empty. 1-4, and that's a foul out to the catcher Zunino to end the inning. Nothing doing there for the Mets at the end of 6. It is 9-6 the score. As we go to the top of the 7th. And Clippard back out. He only faced 1 batter. He is set to lead off next inning. So they'll let him pitch this inning and then pinch hit for him. Coming up for the Mariners, it'll be Zunino and then Marte, who is in the number 9 spot, and then Jackson. Clippard to Zunino, 6-9, and that's an in-home run chance. Zunino with normal power, kaboom, that is gone. Mike Zunino, not known for his power, takes Clippard deep on the 6-9 roll. He did have 11 home runs, did Zunino in 350 at bats, so he does have power, just not a very good average. And it is now 10-6 Seattle. So after giving up just 1 run in game 1, the Mets pitching staff has given up 10. And now we got Marte batting in the number 9 position at shortstop. Facing Clippard, 4-5. Ground ball shortstop X again. We're looking at Flores, who's a 4. 16, I think he might get away with it this time. The X chances have been hurting the Mets big time. 4 and a 16 is a ground ball C, which is good enough to get the out. And at this point, the Mets will take any out they can get. 1 down for Jackson, who's really been a thorn in their side. He's doubled, singled twice, scored 2 runs, and drove in 2 runs. So he's really been the player of the game for Seattle, I would say. 1-6, and he's going to strike out this time. So Clippard gets a little bit of revenge as he gets him to strike out for out number 2. And that's going to send it up to Seth Smith. 4-8 against the lefty is a pop out to second. Murphy there to end the inning. That'll be all for Clippard. His day is done. But the home run from Zunino makes it 10-6. As we go to the 7th inning stretch, it is a 10-6 lead. I'm going to stretch with them. Been sitting down for a while. Don't know how long the game's been going on, but with all the runs scored, it is a longer game. Let's see what they want to do here. Will Helms, they want a 1-2-3-6, so they're going to leave him in there. The pitcher spot is leading things off, so the Mets will go to a pinch hitter. They've already used Johnson, so they're going to go to Michael Kadire out of the pen, or out of the bench, rather, Michael Kadire. And they will need a new pitcher. Addison Reed will come in and pitch the top of the 8th. And he will be the 7th pitcher used by the Mets. But right now, leading off as a pinch hitter is going to be Kadire. And now Tabby wants to get up here and mess with things, so hopefully I can keep her at bay. So Clippard's day is done, and Addison Reed will be the new Mets pitcher in the top of the 8th. Right now, Wilhelmsen to Kadire. 3-8, and Kadire strikes out, 1 away. So he fails in the pinch, 1 down. Top of the order now for Granderson. He did homer in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3. 2-9, he's going to strike out this time. He's now 1 for 4. And that's 2 quick outs for Wilhelmsen. He's retired all 5 he has faced. 6-6 against the lefty, and that's a base hit. That's actually a double for Murphy on a 1-11, and that was a 1. So Murphy, a 2-out double for Daniel Murphy. Brings up Conforto as they are looking to get some 2-out magic here. Runner Murphy not held on second base. Conforto 5-10 against the lefty. That's a ground ball to short, and that's going to end the inning. Nothing doing for the Mets. We played 7, and it's 10-6 Seattle. Seattle trying to send this thing back to Seattle with an even series at a game apiece. Game 3 starters, if you're looking ahead. For Seattle, it will be Iwakuma. And for the Mets, it would be the big guy, Bartolo Colon. And then you have Syndergaard in Game 4 against J. Happ. And then if it gets to 5th game, we're back to Game 1 starters. It would be DeGrom against King Felix, if it gets there. All right, coming up now for Seattle, it is Robinson Cano, and the new pitcher is going to be Addison Reed. They picked him up from Arizona mid-season in a trade, so he will be on. Facing Cano, Cruz, and Seager here in the top of the 8th of a 10-6 game. That leaves Jared Familia as the only bullpen arm remaining for the Mets. I think that's all for Will Helms, and he won his 2 innings, so they will pinch hit for him when the time comes, or replace him when the time comes, I should say. Reed to Cano. That is a 1-8, and it's a ground ball to second. Murphy is there, 1 down to start the 8th. And that's going to send us to Nelson Cruz. Very, very messy score sheet with all these runs. 2-7 for Cruz, and that's a strikeout. So Addison Reed getting the job done. Here's Kyle Seager. And never let Reed go as long as he can. You don't want to use your last pitcher, just in case the game goes extra innings or whatnot. 5-6 for Seager. Reed against Seager. That's a 1-14 single, but that's a 15, so it's a line out to Murphy. And Reed pitches a 1-2-3 8th inning, which obviously means that he's good to go for the 9th as well, to try to extend the inning, or extend the, not having to use all your bullpen. So we go to the bottom of the 8th. 10-6 Seattle. There will be a new pitcher for the Mariners. Coming up for the Mets, it is Cespedes, Duda, and Flores. So we're going to a right-hander for the Mariners, and it will be Danny Farquhar. They do have the closer Carson Smith, but they're going to save him till the 9th. And right now they're going with Danny Farquhar. 4th pitcher used. If the game ends the way the score is now, Furbush would be the winner. And I got to figure out, I think Carlos Torres, or it might be Robles, I have to figure out who the loser is. At this point, probably irrelevant. All right, due up for the Mets, it is Mr. Cespedes. They need to get to business because they're at the heart of the order right here, 4, 5, and 6. Want to get business done right here and break into that lead, 10-6. That's a 3-4, and he's going to strike out, so not a good start for Cespedes. 1 away, and it's looking more and more like there might be a split in the series before we go to Seattle. Duda, 2-5, and that's another strikeout. So Farquhar picking them up and putting them down with 2 strikeouts in a row. Sends it to Wilmer Flores. 5-2 off of Farquhar. That's a single. So Wilmer Flores with a 2-out single. And that will bring up d'Arnaud, who did homer in this game. So a 2-run homer gets him right back in the game. Flores not being held on at first base. Stealer, he's not even thinking about it. 3-7, and that's a ground ball to short that's going to end the inning. So d'Arnaud cannot cash in. And we go to the 9th. Still 10-6. Carson Smith will be coming in for Seattle to close it, even though it's not a safe situation. He did not pitch in Game 1, so they want to get him some work, if nothing else, with the day off of travel. So, going to bring in your best. You don't want to mess around. All right, coming up now for the Mariners is Morrison, and he'll be followed by the pitching spot, which is another reason why Farquhar is coming out, because they're at the pitcher spot. And pinch hitting Mark Trumbo has already picked up a bat. So Mark Trumbo will be up to pinch hit here against Addison Reed. 5-8, and that's a leadoff double. I'm sorry, no, he's facing a lefty. 5-8 is still a leadoff double. 1-12, it's a double, and that is a 12, so it's a leadoff double for Logan Morrison. He gets a leadoff double, and that will bring up Trumbo, the pinch hitter. So Morrison leads off the ninth with a double, and now we've got Trumbo. Facing Reed. 6-7, and that's another big base hit. That's a single 2 stars. That'll bring home a run. It's now 11-6. Pinch hit single from Trumbo makes it 11-6. Now do you even bother bringing in Familia or not? The score being what it is. Reed was doing great. He pitched a 1-2-3 eighth inning, but he's definitely running into trouble now. Here's Austin Jackson. 1-7. It's a ground ball third base B. That's a fielder's choice on a 5-4. So Jackson, the new runner. Actually, not Jackson. It's supposed to be Zunino, isn't it? I got it backwards on the double switch. My bad. It was Zunino who was up. So the 1-7 for Zunino. It's a ground ball third base A. That's actually a double play. Works out better. 5-4-3 double play. 2 quick outs. And now we're at Ketel Marte, the number 9 hitter. Number 9 hitter, Ketel Marte, with 2 outs and the bases empty. So obviously, might as well let Reed finish out the game. We are at Marte. 5-4. It's ground ball third base X. That is Uribe. He's a 3. 3-12 is going to go to his error check, and he is an E18. E18 and an 8. E18 and an 8 is a ground ball ace. It's a good play to end the inning. But another insurance run for the Mariners. They now lead 11-6 as we go to the bottom of the ninth. And as RJL would say, will we see some ninth inning magic? And coming to pitch for Seattle will be Carson Smith. He is their closer. Once they traded Fernando Rodney, Carson Smith took over. He's got 13 saves in the regular season of 2015. So Carson Smith is your new pitcher. And all this, the whole thing that I think that caused the Mets the trouble was when Harvey got hurt early on and didn't even get out of the first inning. So that was really... You're giving up 2 runs, but still you lose him for the rest of the game. Changes the whole way you do your bullpen and everything. So Carson Smith is on, and he'll be facing Uribe and a pinch hitter, and picking up a bat and hitting for the Mets. They've already used Kadire and Johnson, so it looks like Lagares will be pinch hitting. Smith 4-2. That's a strikeout of Uribe, 1 away. Uribe is gone, and that's going to bring up Juan Lagares. He is pinch hitting. Pinch hitters for the Mets have not done well. Well, actually, Johnson did single, but there's been a strikeout from the last pinch hitter, Kadire. See what Lagares can do. 5-7, and that's another strikeout. So 0 for 2 here lately for pinch hitters for the Mets as they are down to their final out. And it's Curtis Granderson, top of the order with 2 outs and the bases clear. Looking more and more like we're going back to Seattle tied. 6-4, struck him out. Carson Smith gets the hat trick, strikes out all 3 he faces, and there's your ball game. The Mariners win it by a convincing score of 11-6. After trailing 6-5, they score 4 in the 6th and then go from there to even the series at a game apiece. Game 3 will be back in Seattle, and it will be, get the particulars for each team. It will be Hisaishi Iwakuma for Seattle. And he'll be facing the big guy, Bartolo Colon for the Mets. In a very important, pivotal Game 3 of a 5-game series. Series is evened at 1 game apiece. And the next video will be Game 3 from Houston, where Houston surprisingly leads the number 1 seed Cleveland Indians 2-0, must-game win for Cleveland. And I believe it'll be Carrasco against McCullers, I believe, is the matchup in that game. But that's going to do it from here. I'm not going to worry about the totals. The score sheet is way too ugly for all of that. Game is in the books. Seattle has tied the series at a game apiece. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.